Artificial Intelligence in Counsellor Education. My name is Dr. Nathan Beel, and today in this presentation I'm going to introduce the notion of artificial intelligence, its benefits and risks, introduce various AI chatbots, and recommend some use cases for counselling educators and researchers to consider. I would encourage each of you to try out the tasks and platform I recommend so you can develop your own views based on your experience with these chatbots. If you think of any other use cases, please leave suggestions in the comments. I'd also like to give credit for the slide graphics, which were designed by artificial intelligence as part of MS Presenter's designer feature. So on this slide, we have a AI generated image, which I put in the search to ask for an image of educators feeling terrified by artificial intelligence, and this is the image it gave me. And then I asked for another image of counselling educators who are happy about artificial intelligence, and this was the image. Okay, so, and these two images represent, I guess, some of the different types of reactions I hear or experience when I mention about AI with education to educators, and some educators are like terrified. It's this thing which threatens academic integrity, and it's something which could, what does it mean for their jobs as educators or as therapists? And then we also have those which are saying, look, this is amazing. It can really help me out. I really want to master this and make good use of it in my workflows. And I'm certainly in this bunch here. I'm very open to it. I recognize I do have some cautions, and I think we all should have cautions in this space. But I also think the potential there is just so powerful, because and the reasoning that I'm having based on this is it's like us having another expert with us who can help guide us and help generate work for us, or productivity for us. Okay, so that's basically some of my assumptions I bring to it. Okay, so some benefits and risks. First of all, I use it because it increases my productiveness, or my productivity. So it can save me something which might take me half an hour to do, or 2 hours, or even potentially 2 days. It can do sometimes within 10 or 20 seconds. Okay, a huge increase in productivity that can be a result in that, as well as obviously part of this is saving time. So if I can save time and find ways to do things more efficiently and effectively and still to a high quality standard, I want to actually do it. And I also think our students want to do this too. Okay, so like we use calculators these days because calculators help us to do mathematics and additions and subtractions and all the various formulas much more quickly than if we did it, and more accurately than if we did it using paper and pen. So this is just the next version of the calculator. This is the 21st century calculator we're dealing with now. It does some of the drawbacks or risks has varying reliability. So sometimes the quality is excellent. Sometimes it makes up stuff that's totally untrue and unreliable. And sometimes it can have biased answers as well. So it's one of those things, we still have to make the decision as to what we do with this information. And we do need to look at the information it generates in a critical way. We can't just assume whatever it's going to tell us is the truth and nothing but the truth. Now also there's the ethical concerns. So if you're going to write transcripts for it that you're going to teach in class, or if you're going to write your thesis with it, or if your students are going to write their assignments with it, that's essentially contract cheating, okay, where we're taking credit for someone else's work that we didn't actually do. But I encourage students, and I try and do it myself, is I use it for the research process. So there's all this content out there, Wikipedia's out there, journal articles are out there, a whole lot of information's out there to help inform us and educate us around different things. And just because we've got the resource, it doesn't mean we have to copy and paste and use that resource in its entirety, that we have to manage that information and properly credit that information with what we want. That's in an ethical way. Okay, so certainly we need to understand the ethical implications, and our students, if we're encouraging students to use it, they also need to understand the ethical implications. And I'll just not say if we're encouraging students, because it's not if our students are using it, but they are using it. Sorry to say, many of our students will be using it already. And it's better to, in my version is, I believe that it's more important. It's not about a full absence approach from AI. We need to do a harm minimization approach with AI, okay? So risk reduction approach. But I'm actually really I actually encourage my students to use it because I think this is the way of the future. This is the way our future is going to go. And I want my graduates to be on the cutting edge of where things are at. Like they should be on the cutting edge in counselling knowledge and theory and skills, that they also need to be on the cutting edge of technology where it can support them to offer a quality service to their clients or their students. Then there's also an issue, another issue about reliability also is a lot of the large language models which underpin the answers, they only relevant up to a certain date. So they might have stopped collecting data and adding data in 2021, for instance. So if you're asking something which has happened in the last 3 weeks, it's probably not going to know the answer to that unless it's got a connection to the internet and can crawl the internet as well. So be mindful around that when you're asking for certain information, it might give you stuff which is pre a certain date, and just take that into account. And the other thing to take into account is data privacy. Okay, so when you type in your queries, a lot of these, especially if you're using it in the using Google's AI or ChatGPT or various other AIs out there, that they will also be your data's informing the big database. So they're collecting data on you as well. And I'm going to show you a bit of software which actually helps avoid that. Okay, so data privacy, especially if you're using it to ask questions about, you put in some information about a case, then you want to be doing that where no one else is going to see this data. Now, obviously, if you're putting in data, it's going to be in a big pool of as big as the internet sort of thing. But at the same time, I think we have to manage privacy concerns and with the utmost of care. Hence why I'll be showing you another solution of how to use more sensitive data without privacy concerns if you're seeking help for it. Okay, so this next slide is showing you a list of potential chatbots that you can use. Now, this is not an entire list. There are just probably hundreds now of different programs or platforms that you can use. But I'll just list out a number of them. So ChatGPT, that's the one that everybody knows about. Bing Copilot, so if you go into the Bing search engine, you'll see a little thing which says Copilot. I'll show you that a bit later. Google Gemini, which is the ChatGPT alternative. Perplexity, which draws on ChatGPT, but it's more designed for academics, and I think it's a much more preferable. To me, it's one of my favorites that I use. It just gives better quality and it often accesses academic scholarly journals as well. Claude, it's another AI thing like ChatGPT. Mistral, Llama, I think Llama might be Facebook's AI. You've got Poe, which is an aggregator, and I'll show you. This is an example of Poe. So you work out which bot do I want to use. So if you use Assistant, that's using ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo. So you can try your query with a number of these different types of generators to see which one provides you the best answer on the particular topic you're asking after. So to me, I use Poe quite regularly now because I can try my question in a number of different sort of chatbots and see what different answers they give me. GPT for All. Now this one is the one which you basically download, and within that system, it'll ask you which large language models do you want to download. So do you want to download ChatGPT? Do you want to download Claude? Do you want to download Mistral? And use that as either one of these as your thing, but it's a local thing. So your computer does all the searching. It uses your computer processor. It doesn't check back on the internet unless you give it permission to. So that way it's 100% private. Okay, you're not trusting Microsoft when it says, your data sensitive, we're not going to do anything with it. I think we've had so many examples in the past where, Facebook and that is saying, no, we don't sell your data, but they end up, but they're still selling your data and using your data. So GPT for All is a program which you can download, and this is only on your local computer. So I really recommend it if you're using it for sensitive material. Then we have SciSpace and LitMap. So these are academic ones. So if you're wanting help with your research, and I'll look into each of these a little bit more detail in the following slides. Okay, so here's an example of GPT for all. I've taken a screenshot from my GPT for all, and these are the different type of things, and it's highlighting that it's privacy aware local chatbots, so it's only on your computer. And it's open source, so it's free. You can download different models as there. And then I think on the next page, I'm using GPT for all Falcon model, and I can type in my query and it'll give me an answer using that particular model. If you also click on this one here, which I don't have it on the PowerPoint slide, but you can upload your own documents. So you can have, if you're researching on, say, confidentiality in counselling, and you've got downloaded all these articles on confidentiality in counselling, PDFs, you can get it to search, and you can ask questions of all those PDFs, and it'll index those PDFs, and you can ask it. That can be part of your database that you seek information from. Okay, which is a really handy thing to have. Okay, here is Poe. Now Poe is that aggregator again, another thing. So I can just click on. At the moment, it's on here. Type in my question, or I can upload a file for it to, and then I can ask questions of the file, or I can use the microphone and say, "Hey, I'm looking to get the formula of such and such, or please do me a work plan for such and such," and it'll answer based on the assistant. But you've got many more. You just press Explore, and you've got many more different chatbots and large language models you can use. You can also use it to draw pictures as well, or create graphics. So that's something else, which, and I showed you that on an earlier slide where I did create graphics. Okay, here's Bing AI. So if you go to the Bing search engine, and you'll probably land there. But then if you click on Copilot, you can have there, and you can ask. There's some example questions you can ask, but you can also ask it. Say, look, I want you to draw me a picture of a child who is having negative thoughts. And it'll draw, and I want it to be in a cartoon format because you want to put this on one of your brochures or something. And it's actually really creative with how it does this. So it might draw a little child and with a sad face of look, and then it might draw a little window, a little bubble on its head, on the child's head, with like a thought bubble, and have a picture of some dark storm clouds on there or something. So and it'll normally give you 4 different pictures to choose from. Okay. So you can see I've used this for, summarize this video, educators' attitude towards AI. That was my question around to get those negative and positive sort of pictures before. I asked the question of Australian privacy legislation, and yeah, it links with ChatGPT 4, but also links to the internet as well, this one. And if you use Notebook, which is just a new feature, just turned up the other day, that you can give you can give a whole lot of information in your query itself, and then ask ChatGPT to analyze that text that you provide as well. So here's that slide. Sorry, I did actually put it in here. So here, write on your mind, give a detailed prompt, and then it'll put the information here or draw you a picture here, etc. Okay, so use cases. So use cases in teaching and learning. So you can use it for subject planning. So here's a prompt that I've written here. Provide me a unit outline for a course on trauma-informed counselling spread over 12 weeks aimed at master's level counselling students. So see, if you want to, put that in there and see what results you get. I think it's, when I put it in, and I can't remember which one I did, whether it was ChatGPT or something else, but I was quite impressed, and it took all of 5 seconds to deliver an entire course outline or subject outline. Lesson planning, design a lesson plan on consent in counselling. Okay, and you can also add and include a case study, and include, and then you can ask questions about the answer. So it might sort of say consent is X, Y, and Z. Tell me more about X, and then the next one, tell me more about Y, and then it'll provide you more information around that. Here's one that I use quite regularly now because I'm trying to. The importance of students being able to self-test themselves in formative assessment. So here's one that I got actually AI to help me I said, help me design a prompt to design really high quality quiz questions. So this was the prompt that it did, and then I just sort of tweaked it a little bit, and then put it through again, and got it to review and critically evaluate the prompt. So write 5 multiple choice questions, including answers. Avoid direct recall questions. Questions must require critical thinking, include plausible distractors, use real-world scenarios for at least half of the questions. Do not use all of the above option. Provide explanation for each correct and incorrect answer. Base the questions on the following text. So, and here I put solution-focused therapy, but what I've done is I'll upload the PDF reading that I'm basing the quiz off, and say, using this uploaded PDF, please write 5 multiple choice quiz questions on this. And then I'll copy and paste check the questions to make sure, because they're not always really good. Sometimes they're pretty yucky, or very too easy. But most of the time they're really good. And then I've got some information I can put into the quizzes where students can do the quiz, and it'll provide the rationale and it'll link it to the reading. And it's actually really quite clever how it does it. So saves hours and hours of quiz design. Use case of teaching and learning some more, some crafting an email to a distressed student. So when you're getting triggered because the student's been quite angry at the mark they got, and they're very critical of your feedback perhaps, and you don't want to respond out of your own negative feeling that you're experiencing at the time. So what I often do is I'll put say the student has emailed and they're very upset about the mark. How can I give me some suggestions on responding in a compassionate yet firm way to the student request, and explore and include some options. Now, obviously, it's not going to know your university's sort of context and what your procedures are, but it's just that it just offers you a starting place. Now, I'd never copy and paste because it's not my writing style, and also I don't like copying and pasting from ChatGPT anyway, or any of the other sort of thing. I like to do things myself, but it's just that it goes, that's how I can approach it. That's what I might be saying. I don't want to say that part, but I can say this, or it might just trigger your own ideas and go, no, now I know what I need to say. ChatGPT's version is not for me, but I can use this version. It's helped me to identify what I want to say. Case study, really good for case studies, I find. So you might sort of say, give me a case study on for counsellors for working with a grieving client, or give me a case study of a grieving client, okay? Or give me a case study on for a client experiencing trauma, who's a female, 46 years old, who has a family, and you can sort of say that, or just let it design the case study based on the details it provides. And I find them pretty darn good. Designing a rubric is another really useful one that I find helpful. So you might put the question into the ChatGPT or the equivalent AI sort of that you're using, and say, based on this, this is an essay on this particular topic, and here is the essay question. Please design a rubric with the criteria being high distinction, credit, pass, fail, and based on this question, and based on for a master's level student. And again, generally I found the rubrics, it'll give you a table rubric and it'll give all the different criteria, and then you can just add questions to it to fine tune it, or you can just use it as a starting point, and then you can you can design your own based on some ideas from that. Okay, classroom management. If you're having issues with a particular student acting in a certain way or dominating or doing, I just ask ChatGPT. It's got this huge database of information from where there's probably lots of teachers and books on teaching and education that I don't have the background in this space. I've never been trained as a teacher. So it gives me some really good classroom management strategies, and you can also sort of say, give me some classroom management strategies. I'm a counselling lecturer, and I want these strategies to align with a counselling philosophy. So I'm doing really positive role modelling as well for the student. So different things like that, you can tweak it and customise it, the prompt, until you get an answer that you want, and in guidance that's helpful. Now, just in case I haven't explained it before, prompts are the instructions you give it. They're called prompts. Okay, workshop activities and icebreakers. Again, you can say, I'm doing a class on grief today. Suggest 10 different activities that I can do with the students that will support their learning, or energizer activities, or whatever activities. Okay, designing graphics and photos. So you can always go to Unsplash to find some professional photography, or you can design, just ask ChatGPT or Bing Copilot or Llama, or the different sort of image generating AI models, to generate you some graphics to use, or some photos, or some cartoons, or whatever you tell it to generate, it will. Okay, so feel free to. Now, sometimes they're not perfect; they've still got a way to go, but they're pretty darn good for what you're asking it to do. Okay, use cases for research. So with this one, I remember a student said, I said to a student who was a research student, have you done a timeline yet and a project plan? No, I don't know how to do it. And I was just about to tell her and have a conversation and instruct her on how to do research plans. And then I thought, hang on a minute, let's try ChatGPT. So I said, do you want to ask ChatGPT, say, go into there and say, can you give me a research plan? I'm starting in February, finishing in November. It's on qualitative research, and doing a qualitative thematic analysis. Please give me a research plan, and I'm having July off for holiday. And within 5 seconds, she had a research plan. She said, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. And I was like, wow, this is pretty impressive. Now, obviously, again, they can adapt it for their own thing, but it just saves so much time and saved me explanation. And I could have just said, look, ask ChatGPT what a research plan is. Ask ChatGPT how to design a research plan. And generally, I find with those sort of questions, it's generally really accurate. Okay, reviewing manuscripts, strengths and weaknesses. So when you finish your manuscript ready to submit it into the journal, then I'll convert it to PDF, open it in Bing AI into the Microsoft Edge browser, ask Bing AI, please critically evaluate this manuscript and provide me any feedback or comments, any flaws, any key flaws which I need to address prior to submission. Okay, it can do that. Sometimes, depending on which version of thing you do or what prompts you do, some are not so good quality. Some might be too vague, but some can be quite detailed and give you really good feedback. So it's just like having your own reviewer, personal reviewer there. And your students can do that too. They can ask ChatGPT to offer some comments and critical review on their assignments too. Just like they might ask a friend to review it, it can act like a friend as well. Responding to peer review comments. At times I get peer review comments and I think, what the heck are they talking about? Or if they are saying something, I just don't know how to address it. What I'll do is I'll put the comments in there and say, here's my dilemma, here's what the researcher is asking for. They're saying I need to expand on my limitations. I've done a qualitative review. What are some potential limitations you think I might need to make? Or give me, and it might list off 15 different ways of responding to this reviewer's comments. And then one of those is just hits the spot. Go, that's right. Yeah, that is a weakness. I totally agree. I'm going to write about that. Okay, so really, really helpful. Showing sample literature reviews. So when you're first starting off, you don't know the topic. So give me a literature review on, working with disabled people in counselling, and it'll spit it out in a few seconds. But it'll also often provide a structure. So sometimes we'll be in dot points and provide a structure of areas you might want to research. So really helpful. Under identifying ethical issues. Okay, here's my research, here's my plan, here's my methodology, here's my sample group. What are some ethical areas I might need to become aware of? Now, you've probably already thought about 10 ethical issues that you might need to consider, but it might give you another 2 that you haven't thought of. So it picks up on your potential areas of blind spot, and just helps, using its massive database to identify. So here is using Perplexity AI. This one is the one that I tend to use more, even though I've used ChatGPT in my discourse. And this one, actually, the one I use most is actually Perplexity AI. And I think it's based on ChatGPT, but it's got a whole lot of other databases of academic scholarly work in it. So it tends to be a little bit more academic. And it also tends to give better quality links straight to research articles where you can look it up for yourselves. So you can attach files, you can click a focus, so you can narrow it down just to academic scholarship, which in the databases. I find just the general thing is good enough most of the time, and sometimes if there's not a lot written in that area, it can give you really weird research that's a little bit too far left of field. But I'd encourage you to try Perplexity and see how you go with it. Also, this one, SciSpace, it's got a good free model, but you can also pay for it as well and get more details out of it. So this one will search papers for you. So if I want to find papers on such and such, or ask it a question, and it'll find you papers and it'll give you an abstract of, synthesize the papers, give you an abstract of that topic that you're asking about, and it'll have links to those papers, and it'll also summarize the papers underneath according to the criteria you want it to summarize. Okay, really helpful, and that's got another feature where you can upload your research PDFs, your journal articles, and get it to answer from those journal articles. Okay, so you're not So again, give me a summary of these journal articles, or I can't remember where there's a journal article which just discussed X, Y, and Z. Can you tell me which journal article discussed it? Okay, so that will be from your library that you uploaded. So those are there. So with AI literacy for students now, I know it's pretty terrifying for a lot of lecturers to be thinking about students and how they might be using it. But for me, I'm actually saying to students, it's really important you learn how to use this and use it well and use it ethically. Okay, so I encourage them to use it to find out more about the topic. You know, if you've got a question for me about ethics, I'm teaching ethics this semester, ask AI first, and then you can ask me, or ask me first and then ask AI, whichever way. But use it as another resource that you can, use it to stimulate your thinking. Even in the workshops or residential schools, I'll say, open up your device and ask AI if there's a question they ask, or if there's a case study. Discuss it with your group first, and then after you've discussed it with a group, then each of you go on AI and ask AI and see what answers, and compare answers with your group's discussion as well, and see what you come out with. Okay, so I'm trying to help them to critically think about it, to use the tool, encouraging them to use the tool, but also to critically think about it as well as to maintain their own independent thinking as well. Effective studies, so I encourage students to help AI to help them enhance the study by generating self-quizzes on the material if they want to test themselves, or to establish spaced repetition schedules for learning. Okay, I'm hoping AI at some point is going to get good enough where we can speak into AI and ask AI to be a client, and we can practice our reflecting skills and get feedback from AI as to how well we did according to the criteria we want them to assess us on. Okay, so to me, I'm really excited about that opportunity. So students don't have to find a practice buddy. They can practice anytime, any day. I'm hoping that's going to be a future, and I think it's probably already current. I just haven't looked into it enough. AI competence, so teach students how to design quality prompts to gain relevant information. Okay, so that's also, I think, an important thing. And assignment preparation, teach students how to use AI to prepare assignments, assess quality, point of use. Just like I use AI to help me to help stimulate ideas, to help me understand a research topic, and to start knowing where to look in the research. Why should I be able to do it? My students can't do it for their assignments. Okay, so I'm actually encouraging them to use that. If they don't understand the task, to actually ask AI to help them put the task in AI and say, tell me, interpret this task for me, provide an answer for this task. And then they can, and also provide journal articles which I can look up and do research from. Okay, so it can really help them, but obviously I'm informing them about it, academic integrity and due diligence, because it's not to replace their intelligence; it's actually to support and their thing. Now, the other thing I would also do with them is say, put your reference list and put it through AI and ask it to find the errors in your reference list, and then ask them to indicate what errors they are and give you links on where you can find information to. So that way the AI is correcting helping them to identify the errors so they can correct their reference list, and they can provide hopefully a fully correct reference list when they're doing their submissions. So again, do students need to know absolute perfect referencing? Well, I don't think they do now. I think that as long as they know the principles, and they know the basics, then because we all make referencing mistakes. So to me, I think that this is something which can help support them to ensure they're submitting quality products. And this is what we're actually wanting in academia. We want people to submit quality products. And certainly it's not doing the thinking. This is like the drudge work side of it, the double checking reference things, but it's also a learning process as well that they're going through. Okay, so I know some people might have issues with the reference list type of thing, but to me, I think that's actually something which can actually help educate students on how to identify where their common errors are, and to help them submit better quality things. Now, I certainly don't encourage them to copy and paste AI in terms of AI generated stuff, because that will get them in trouble, and also it's not showing proper scholarship. So, but certainly I want them to do the due diligence in that space, and yeah, use it as a tool, just like they'll be using in their internet searches and looking up information. They're using it, but it can also give them feedback as a critical reader as well. Now, problem solving. Okay, so give AI does quite good with case studies. So if you put a case study in, say, tell me, align this case study with the 5 Ps, and it'll evaluate and analyze and spit out the 5 Ps linked with that case study. Or ethical issues. What are the ethical issues in this case study? And it'll spit out, here are the ethical issues, and you can link it with the PACFA or the ACA Code of Ethics to identify based on this Code of Ethics, what are the ethical issues in this particular case, and what are some potential solutions through it. Now you might think, oh no, students have to learn that for themselves, and my answer is, well, yes they do, but also sometimes we have to think ethically on the spot, but sometimes between sessions, it's important that, I want to make the best quality ethical decision, and I think AI can actually assist me in my decision making as well, because it's another form. It's like bouncing. I'll talk to my supervisor, but I'll also talk to AI about it as well, and because I'm trying to generate the most information that's relevant so that I can make an informed choice at the end, and hopefully make a better choice so I can deliver quality service with my clients. Okay, so that's also some ideas and certainly even just with meetings now, this is an aside, but AI can generate meeting minutes. AI can also, platforms which are practice management software platforms are starting to use AI to generate client notes, well-formatted client notes and well-worded client notes. So there's amazing stuff on the horizon which will help save amazing amounts of time. And I hope today, in this presentation, I hope that I have stimulated some ideas around what some possibilities are of AI, and I'd really encourage you to try out some of these things, try out some of the prompts and the strategies, and just see what you think. So try not to be too scared of AI until you try it first, and if you try it and you don't like it, that's fine. If you try it and you fall in love with it, that's wonderful too. But if you do fall in love with it, please take the caution seriously, because there's always that potential. So if you're using AI to write your lectures, the students can check, they can copy and paste, they can get the script from your lecture from AI as well, can generate the transcript for them. They can go back, put that through AI, and they can find out if you've been using AI as your transcript for your lectures. So again, we want to use it responsibly and not take any shortcuts, because we will get exposed if we take those sort of shortcuts, but also our students need to use it responsibly as well. And my challenge is, how do we help support the students' learning with it, not undermine it, not stop their learning journey, their formational journey, but support their formational journey with this, as well as help them to have better quality work at the end of the day. Thank you for listening. I hope this has been informative, and I will look forward to future presentations. Bye now.